So do you know that 70% of people with pre-diabetes end up getting diabetes if they do not make the right diet and lifestyle changes? I hope you are not going to be one of those 70% because it's much easier to manage pre-diabetes than it is to manage diabetes, right? The physical, the emotional, the financial impact of having diabetes is much different and much greater than managing pre-diabetes. Pre-diabetes is 100% reversible and you do not require any medication for this. There are four aspects of your life that you need to look at, and when it comes to reversing pre-diabetes, and these four are your diet, of course. What is it that you're eating? How are you eating? What are you eating? The second thing is exercise, your movement. The third thing, very important, is sleep. And the fourth is your mindset, your emotional, your mental health. In this video, I'm specifically only going to be talking about diet, and I will be telling you 8 actionable things that you can do in order to reverse your pre-diabetes. Please make sure you watch the video till the end, and do share this with somebody you care about. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is start having early dinners. This is such a simple thing, yet it is so often overlooked, with our busy lifestyles. So why is it important to have early dinners? Diabetes and pre-diabetes is very much a hormonal disease. Most of us know that by now. And in our body, hormones are secreted in a cyclical manner, which means, there is periods of up and down. It's not secreted the same quantity throughout the day. For example, in the morning, when you are expected to be alert and awake, cortisol levels are high. Towards the end of the day, the hormone which helps us with digestion, that is insulin, starts reducing. And that's the time when your body is preparing to go into the rest mode. It's preparing to go into the healing mode, to do the repair work that is required. But what are we doing? We are keeping the body awake by looking at screens. We are wanting our body to digest food by having late dinners, by snacking late. So you need to have a cutoff time. I think 8 p.m. is a decent time. It's not too early, not too late. But having to do that will require you to plan your life in a certain way. For example, if you are working, then you need to make sure that you're eating your meals at your workplace. If you're out, if you're going to be socializing, even then make sure that you're eating on time. The reason this is so important is when it comes to pre-diabetes, I always push my patients to go all out, to give it their 100%, because this is like the golden period that you have, the golden window. You don't want to miss this, and just because of being lax or not putting in your 100%, you realize that you have moved on to diabetes now, and then reversing from there becomes much more difficult. So in a week, if out of the 7 days, 2 to 3 days you're not going to follow what is required to be done, then it really does not help. So I always ask my patients to go all out, go 100%, and make sure that you're following what needs to be done. You plan your life in such a way that you're doing everything that's needed. So the first point is, I want you to start having your dinners early. 7 p.m. is great. If not, max to max by 8 p.m. make sure that your dinners are done. Point number 2 is time restricted eating, or having a gap where you are not going to be eating anything. I'm not asking you to just immediately start with long fast, but have a basic time frame, a time window where you will not be eating anything. See, any machine needs a downtime, needs a time where it's turned off and it's not being used, correct? And our body is the most sophisticated machine that we will ever come across, but it also needs downtime. So when it comes to our digestion, we want to give it some time of rest, and which is why a 12-hour fast is good to begin with. So let's say you finish your dinner by 8 p.m. Decide that till 8 a.m. you will not have anything. You can gradually increase this fasting window, but if right now you are randomly doing things, eating at any time, and there is no schedule, just start with a 12-hour fasting window and decide that if I finish my meals, let's say by 7 or by 8, then for the next 12 hours, I am not eating anything. To gradually increase this, you can increase the time window by half an hour to 1 hour, where you push your dinners by half an hour or 1 hour early, and then you push your breakfast by half an hour to 1 hour late. And that's how you can gradually increase your fasting window. Point number 3 is eliminate or cut out all processed foods from your diet. This is such a simple thing, and by doing just this one thing without making any drastic changes in their diet, a lot of patients see so much improvement and a lot of weight loss also. When it comes to processed foods, I mean things like chips, sauces, pastas, noodles, anything that is coming in a packet, anything which has too many ingredients in it, I want you to go off that altogether. And the best way to make sure that you're not eating all of these things is to be very, very particular and careful when you're shopping, and also make sure you are careful about the things that you're storing in your kitchen, because if these junk foods, if these processed foods are not there at home, that is one sure short way to make sure you don't eat it. Yes, you can still call in food and you can still, Swiggy and Zomato it, but if it's not at home, then you will be forced to think of healthier options. And when I say processed foods, I'm also talking about the so-called healthy processed foods. Things like sugar-free fruit juices or even regular fruit juices are an absolute no. I never recommend those to anybody. Breakfast cereals, your so-called healthy cookies, diabetic friendly cookies and diabetic friendly rusk and toast, and all of those things not required. Just get them out of the diet. Also, you have your sandwich spreads, your salad seasonings, which come in bottles, which have a lot of oil, usually a lot of oil, a lot of flour, a lot of salt and sugar too. So processed foods, your namkeen, chakli chivda, all of those things, make sure that you eliminate these things from your diet. Understand that when you have pre-diabetes, it may take a couple of months to reverse your condition, but once your situation is better and you have reversed your condition, you can eat these things occasionally here and there, which is how it's meant to be. But initially, when you are looking at reversing, when you get a reading which is, which sets the alarm bells ringing, at that time you want to make sure you 100% cut these out from your diet. So that was the third point: eliminate all processed foods. The fourth point is include more vegetables in your diet. We all know this, it's so basic, but we don't do it, right? We think we're eating a lot of vegetables, but usually there are more grains and pulses in our diet, a typical Indian diet, and vegetable quantity is usually very less. And that is probably what has led you to this condition in the first place. So one of the things I suggest always is to try to start your meals with a salad, with a big salad which has a lot of veggies, a variety of veggies. If you think that you don't want to eat raw food, you're not able to digest raw food, or it's cold season and you don't like having raw food at that time, what you can do is steam the salad, or you can just saute those vegetables and have it, or you can use those same vegetables and make it into a soup and have that. And include green leafy vegetables in your meal every day. At least one green leafy vegetable should be had every day, whatever is seasonal and whatever is local. And it does not matter. I think when you're having pre-diabetes, I am not very particular about sticking to non-starchy vegetables at all. Have a mix of vegetables. It's better if you're having non-starchy vegetables, but it's okay if you're having the starchy ones as well. Just make sure that you're getting enough of it, because you're getting your micronutrients and you'll be getting your fiber as well from the vegetables. Increase your protein intake. This is point number 5. Now, how much protein is required? So much talk about protein, but we all tend to still eat less protein in our meals. The protein requirement is at least 1 gram of protein for every kg of your ideal body weight. So if your ideal body weight is, let's say, 60 kgs, 60 grams of protein is what you should aim for. 60 grams of protein per day. And whatever, if you're a vegetarian, then whether it's paneer or it's tofu or it's lentils, seeds and nuts also have a good amount of protein. And if you're a non-vegetarian, eggs are a great option, or meat or fish. And rather than making this a daily decision where you're calculating and you're saying, okay, how much protein do I have in every meal, try and understand what is it that you will eat every day to make sure that you will get your amount of protein. So let's say if it's a few eggs, or it's this much 100 grams of paneer which you will eat every day, or if it's 1 scoop of whey protein. So these couple of things will be there in your diet along with everything else. This kind of takes away the decision making and the planning which is required every day. Otherwise, you tend to think too much about what to eat and about weighing food, and it just takes the whole pleasure out of eating and out of meals. So understand what are the foods that are rich in protein, and make sure that you plan in a way that these foods are there in your daily diet along with everything else. Point number 6 is stay hydrated by drinking at least 8 glasses of water every day. Something as simple as 8 glasses of water every day helps to keep your sugar levels under control. Very often we are thirsty, but we mistake it for hunger and we end up eating or we have too many cravings. So just drinking enough water, and don't drink too much water at a time. Just make sure that you are drinking throughout the day, and that is a very important thing to keep your sugar levels under control and to make sure that you're not eating when you are not hungry. Point number 7 is eat your meals mindfully. Start eating mindfully. Avoid any distractions when you're eating. Avoid discussing anything stressful when you're eating. Keep all the stressful discussions for another time. And don't be very anxious when you're eating. Don't discuss your health. Don't discuss your health issues. Don't discuss nutrition when you're eating. अरे इसमें ज़्यादा प्रोटीन है, अरे आज फाइबर कम हो गया. No need to discuss all that once you're eating. Just calm yourself down. Take a couple of deep breaths before you start eating. Eat with a sense of gratitude. It's like when you have to exercise, when you're going to exercise, you warm up your body, right? The same way, when you are going to eat food, you have to prepare your body for digestion so that the digestion happens well. Your body is able to absorb the nutrients well. And no matter how well planned your meal is and how much nutritious it is, if you're not in a state of relaxation while you're eating it and you're always going to be stressed, अरे इससे शुगर बढ़ेगा तो नहीं, ये ठीक है कि नहीं है, if you're always thinking about that, or you're feeling कि मुझे तो ये नहीं खाना था, I wanted to eat something else, अब मुझे ये खाना पड़ रहा है, everybody else is eating what they want, I have to eat this. If you're constantly eating with that sense of guilt or anger or frustration, that's not going to do you good either. So eat with a sense of calmness, and I feel always that don't eat when you're angry or when you're stressed or when you're upset. Calm yourself down, take a couple of deep breaths, and then eat without distractions. Relish your meals, eat with a sense of gratitude, and eat mindfully. Point number 8 and the last point is that try to avoid snacking. I'm not saying that if you are hungry between meals, then you bear with the hunger or you force yourself to stay hungry. But very often we snack out of habit. Snacking has become a habit for us, either socially, maybe we are, at our workplace and everybody is having a cup of tea and, having snacks, and then, or we are at home and it's tea time and, it's just a habit that we snack. It's also that, culturally, between meals, people tend to eat stuff. But if you're trying to reverse a condition like pre-diabetes or diabetes, it's essential to restrict your meals to 2 to 3 main meals per day. And between those meals, you can have something like a green tea or a herbal tea or any drink, a herbal drink maybe, or you can have a fruit with some nuts. So you have sort of planned that, if I have to have a snack, this is what I will have. But I would say avoid snacking. If you are snacking, have a healthy snack. So these are the 8 actionable things for reversing your pre-diabetes. If you need help managing your pre-diabetes or reversing it, you can write to me on the email address which is flashing on the screen. If you have any questions, share them in the comments and I will answer those for you. Take care of yourself and stay healthy.